Hello, my name is John Urie. I'm going to create a web application using Maven inside NetBeans. After I've created the application and I'm happy with how it's laid out, I'm going to create a Maven archetype from my application, and then I'm going to create an application from my archetype. First step is to create a Maven web application. We'll call it JSF2 since we're going to create a JSF2 application. Some information from a clipboard, which includes information about myself and the license that I'd like to include in my application. Next, I'm going to modify the POM. Going back to NetBeans, I'm going to modify the properties, and this will again modify the POM file, but I want to show you what you can do with it. We're going to call our application JSF2 web application. We're going to confirm that our source is set to 1.6 and our encoding is UTF-8. Next, we're going to add a framework. In this case, we're going to add Java server faces. Additionally, we're going to add prime faces for some additional components. And we'll hit OK. This will modify our POM file to include all of the JSF libraries and its dependencies. In addition, it will update and add a web.inf file and an index.xhtml file. I'm going to delete the index.jsp file, and I'm going to go to the source directory and I'm going to add a bean. We'll add a new Java class. We'll call it indexBean, since this will be the backing bean that we use for our index.xhtml file. Notice this includes a license and additional information about me, which is what we included in the POM file previously from the clipboard. We'll make the bean a managed bean. In this case, we'll use a Java server faces bean, and we'll make it request scoped. Next, we'll add an attribute called message, which says simply hello world. And we'll add a setter and a getter. Notice how easy it is to do all of this with NetBeans. We'll save our file, and we'll go back to our index.xhtml file. From here, we'll add our index bean and a message. Notice that prime faces has been included, but we'll do a little bit of formatting so we can actually see what's been included. This looks okay, but I think we'll add a little bit more information in here. We'll do some formatting, and then we'll execute the file and see what it looks like. We'll use GlassFish 3.1 because it's the best application server on the planet, although that's only my opinion, but I believe after enough of these demonstrations you'll be convinced as well. Once the application deploys, we'll see our prime faces components on a JSF page using JSF2. If we're satisfied with how the application looks, we can go back in and create a Maven archetype from this. Notice it says hello world, and it also says hello from prime faces, and when we click on it, it includes the message that we had included in our backing bean. I think that'll work for an initial start. So from here, I'm going to go into a terminal. NetBeans includes a terminal application, so in this case, I'm going right inside NetBeans and I'm using the terminal. We'll go inside our JSF2 application, and we'll say MVN Archetype create from project. This should create our archetype. When it creates the archetype, it'll place that archetype in a generated sources subdirectory under target. And it was successful. So if we go back and we look at our project, we can look in here and we'll see the generated sources, and we'll see our new archetype project. We'll open this project up and just kind of verify some of the information that's in here. Let's look at the archetype meta. Everything looks okay here. Next we'll look under the resources. We'll see our POM file. This is our archetype POM file. Notice that here the group ID, the artifact ID, and the version are passed in values. We'll see our index bean. The index bean, again, includes the package information here. Okay, so this looks okay. So let's clean and build our archetype. This will deploy it to the local repository. From here, we can create a new project. We'll create a new project, and we'll say project from archetype. And we'll pick local archetype catalog. Notice our new JSF2 archetype project. It's going to prompt us for some information. We'll just leave it at the defaults just to prove it. This will create a project based on the JSF2 application that we had created previously. Once the application completes, we'll deploy it as is without any modification to the application server and see what was created. Let's close this. Notice it created an application that mirrors its parent. From here, we can look, we can verify some properties. It looks the same. So let's deploy our new application. Congratulations! We've created a web application using Maven. We've created an archetype based on our application, which was successful, and then we've successfully created yet another JSF application that reproduces the parent. And that's the end of this tutorial.